I think it's very clear that the Fulani man have agenda of dominating. But let us look at what came from Samad Bello in the past to give us a sense of what we are discussing here. Because he said, we must ruthlessly prevent a change of power. We must use the minorities of the North as willing tools and the South as a conquered territories, and never allow them to rule over us or have control of their future. If you look at this statement that came from Ahmadu Bello, I think that best explains what someone told me yesterday, a Yoruba man, that if a Tinubu do not use this opportunity to address the issue of self-determination and perhaps allow people to go their separate ways, that all the gains of his administration in terms of trying to reverse all the age-long marginalization of the Fulani man, that the Fulani man will eventually come back to return Nigeria to those time of Egypt. But having said that, to see how further sense of what we are discussing, because I'm of the view that even Nigeria itself was never meant to be one, if not for the British government that amalgamated Nigeria together without the consent of the people they were bringing together. Let me bring in statement that came from the founding fathers of this country to give us a sense of what we are discussing here. This one is saying, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country, but the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any signs of willingness to unite. Nigerian unity is only a British invention. It's only a British invention. This one came from Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa in 1948. So we can clearly see that even the founding fathers know that Nigeria is not one, that Nigerian unity is a British invention, that Nigerians are not united through their minds. Of course, the Bible says, can two work together except they agree? We are seeing that Nigerians are not agreeing, and it is only through the battle of gun, through the instrumentality of force that the government is using to keep Nigerians together. But for you to move forward as a people, the government must do things that will make people see themselves as Nigerians. But let me bring in another angle so that we'll have a clearer sense of what we are discussing here. This one is saying, Nigeria is not a nation, it is a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as they are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigeria is a mere distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria and those who do not. This one came from Chief Obafemi Awolowo in 1947. So you can clearly see that these founding fathers are aware. They know that Nigeria, or rather Nigerians, are not one. They don't see themselves as one. Nigeria has since been polarized into different ethnicity, and that fourth line is what the government have been using against every citizen of the country to the advantage of the government. But let me bring the last one so that we continue the conversation. This one is coming from Zeke. He's saying, it is better for us and many admirers abroad that we should disintegrate in peace and not in pieces. Should the politicians fail to heed the warning, then I will venture the prediction that the experience of the Democratic Republic of Congo will be a child's play if it ever comes to our turn to play such a tragic role. This one came from Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe in 1964. So I think we can clearly see that even the founding fathers are very much aware that Nigeria is not a country, that Nigeria is just a British invention. They make coerce people into coming together. But again, let me bring in the angle of this lady, because when we listen to the lady, you understand that the lady said that virtually every position in the North have been taken over by the Fulanis, including even the position of Imam in the mosque, have been taken over by the Fulanis. She went further to mention the issue that has to do with the emirship. That virtually almost every emirate in the north have Fulani as the emirs, dominating every stool of emir in the north. And you understand that the Hausas are more in population, but their population is not able to checkmate the domineering nature of the Fulani over them. In almost every human endeavor in the north, the Fulani man is taking charge. And I think that is the same thing they want to do in the south. We are seeing repeated effort to doing that. And every effort to do that, they have not been able to achieve it. Even the lady went further to talk about the issue of political class, governorship positions, that even in Katsina State, that is predominantly Hausa, you have Fulani ruling over the people. That even Kano State, that in her lifetime, she have only witnessed an Hausa governor in Kano State. That every other governor that have ruled that state have born Fulani. So it goes to show that the Fulani, that statement that came from Usman Danfodio is what they are working with. Of course, they are eager to see that they take charge, they take control. And the worrisome aspect currently is the one that has to do with this issue of Fulani headers, terrorists, bandits everywhere. Even recently, we are seeing the governor of Oyo State, Emakide, raising alarm that the bandits who have been dislodged from the northwest are hibernating in southwestern forests. And again, I think we should make it very clear, though they call them bandits, but even in the north, in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Benue, all the activities of banditry have been linked to the Fulani. I think that truth must be told. And if we must address it, we must know who is involved, who is doing it, and the government, as a matter of urgency, as a matter of necessity, must rise to the occasion and protect lives and property. Because however I look at it, it behoves on government to protect lives and property. It's a right, it's a responsibility that's incumbent on government, that is bestowed on government by the Constitution. Because Section 14 of 1999 Constitution of Amendment is very clear about what shall constitute the primary purpose of governance, because it says that the welfare of the people and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. So to that extent, I think the government must rise to the occasion and address all this issue of insecurity. Even the essence of headers, the Fulani headers, is very much in Delta State now. Talking about two local government that I'm very familiar with. Talking about Ika South and Ika Northeast. That is not the only local government that are restricted to. I'm saying it because this is my immediate locality. So the point is, even the local government of the immediate past governor of Delta State, talking about Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, the activities of these headers is on the high side. It is even with the effort of local vigilantes that the people can sleep with their eyes closed. So kidnapping, maiming, raping is order of the day. Once you live close to anywhere the rail line pass through, you are vulnerable to be kidnapped, to be kidnapped for ransom. Now, looking at the statement that came from those founding fathers, you're going to see that Nigeria, by providence, was never meant to be one. And good enough, Nigerian government is already a signatory to the UN Charter that talks about self-determination. So to that extent, if somebody is talking about self-determination and is doing it within the ambits of the law, the person is not committing any known crime, whether locally or internationally, because self-determination is already a right in Nigerian legal jurisprudence. Now, we have seen the likes of Nnamdi Kanu rising to say, I want the sovereign state of my people. And we have seen how it was extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, because the Court of Appeal in Nigeria have since ruled that Nnamdi Kanu was extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria, as such that the federal government of Nigeria have lost every right to prosecute him and he should be released unconditionally. Though the federal government appealed that case, and the have gone for a self-execution, and the self-execution was granted. But then the council himself have challenged any legal practitioner in Nigeria or any law student to prove where it is legal, where it's written in any Nigerian law book that you can see execution of such judgment. But let us leave that angle. The point is, why is government running away from addressing these fault lines? Why is government running away from bringing everybody on board to chart the way forward? There's nothing saying that Nigerians cannot come together and decide whether they want to continue being together or not. It's not out of place to do that. After all the brute force, all the arrests, detention, prosecution have not deterred people who agitate that they want to secede from Nigeria. Because since the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, or rather extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, we have seen other people rising to say we are continuing with that agitation. We have seen the likes of Samuel Ekpa in Finland, though he was accused of violent crime, and he is currently with Finnish authorities. But however I look at it, people are not deterred, because even after the arrest of Samuel Ekpa, we are seeing the likes of Oge Kere, the likes of Dr. Ngozi Arabese rising to say they are now in charge, they are taking over the leadership of the struggle. So it's going to show that people are not deterred from are not deterred by the action of the government. Now, that takes me to the angle the Nobel laureate is always coming from, because this is a man who have always maintained repeatedly that Biafra is an ideology, that you cannot defeat ideology through a battle of gun, that you can only fight an ideology through ideological point of view. So in his own view, the government needed to come together and make perhaps a round table for conversation for people to say, okay, let us chart the way forward. Let us discuss whether we want to continue being together or not. Because whether I would like it or not, I can confidently say that by providence, God created the Igbos a different people. God created the Hausa people a different people. God created the Yoruba people a distinct people in their own way. It is not out of place anyway for people with different background, different culture, different distinctive identities to come together and say we want to be one. But it must be through a unanimous agreement. It must not be somebody coercing them through a battle of gun. But if you look at the very ground note that binds Nigeria together, talking about the constitution, it's in the preamble. He said that we, the people of Nigeria, came together to write the constitution. And in the history of this country, there's never a time Nigerians came together unanimously to write that constitution. So you go to show that it was forced on the people. People were coerced. So that is why we have been agitating that we need a people's-oriented constitution. Perhaps if that is addressed, it will address most of the agitation or the issues that people raise that made them to say they want to secede. Because currently, you cannot take away the fact Nigerians are already polarized in their minds. Nigerians are not together in their mind. The only thing that keeps Nigerians together is the instrumentality of force of federal government, is the monopoly of coercive power that government have in that regard, is the battle of gun. Otherwise, if you go and make a sample opinion of Nigerians, they will tell you that they have since divided in their minds. And the Bible says, can two work together? I said, I agree. Obviously, no. We have equally seen the senator representing Delta North Senatorial District in the Senate the other time, saying that if you arrest a Samuel Ekpa, that 100 Samuel Ekpa were matched. Samuel Ekpa have been arrested in Finland, and we are since seeing people rising to say they are taking over his position. So you're going to show that the arrest, prosecution is not deterring people from agitating. So at that point, what do you do as a people? I think the best thing to do at that point is to bring everybody on board and have a conversation on it. This is not the first time we are seeing agitation, like what the former president said, talking about Olusegun Obasanjo, that even the North in the past shouted Araba, meaning division. So it didn't start from Biafra. And again, we are seeing the lights of Sunday Igboho rising to say, I want the freedom of my people. And the bottom line is, it was because of the excesses of the headers, who at the time wreaking havoc in the Ibarapa North area of Oyo State. Of course, we saw how Sunday Igboho gave the Sadiq of Uganda quick notice that time. And we saw how federal government under Muhammadu Buhari was not objective in his handling of those issues. how the federal government came with the federal might in what like using a sledgehammer to kill a fly and descended on Sunday Igboho. But the point is, it doesn't matter whether you descend on someone. It doesn't matter how you approach it. People are still rising to say we want our own sovereign state. So you're going to show that your action, your approach is not deterring people. You're going to show that the kinetic approach is not deterring people. So why not rise up one day and summon courage, summon everybody to a roundtable conversation, let the people decide whether they want to continue being together or not. Because even the Britain that amalgamated Nigeria together, that brought everybody together under the platform called Nigeria, they at a point exited European Union. And when they wanted to exit European Union, nobody advised them to join hands with other members of European Union countries to move European Union forward instead of exiting European Union. Just as the British High Commission in Nigeria here advised a Sunday Igboho to drop his agitation and join hands with other Nigerians to move Nigeria forward. I'm not saying Nigeria should not move forward. I'm not saying Nigerians cannot come together to move Nigeria forward, but it must be through unanimous agreement. It must not be through imposition of anything as we have it currently, talking about the constitution, the grand norm that was imposed on Nigerians and is currently not working. And the Nigerians are agitating that let us have a people's-oriented constitution. Of course, that is the way to go. I must say, baby, thank you for your time. This is Satellite Media and I'm Mr. Martin.